Welcome back to GBGuns. The other day, the Firearm Guy channel and I were talking about affordable guns under $300, and that got me thinking about some of the less appreciated or lesser known guns that are out there. Got a pile of them here that I wanted to go over with you. That's what's coming up next on GBGuns. So all of these are guns that the Glock fanboys and the folks who just go off of what they see in magazines and whatnot would mock. But they all have something unique about them that I appreciate, and I wanted to go over them with you. I've got an FMK, some Diamondbacks, and a Heizer. We'll start off with the FMK. So one of the things that makes the FMK unique is it's made in California, for one. Not many California gun makers out there. Reviewed this a couple times. I might have to do a revisit again just to show it to you some more. Some things I liked, some things I didn't like. One thing that really impressed me with it was the ergonomics. If you look at this grip, we've got a softer rubber touch to the heel and back strap. This indentation here and suggestive general grooves, and the hand wraps nicely. The indentation gives your fingers a spot to go. This keeps your thumb within reach of the controls easily. A lot of neat thoughts put into this, and yes, it is basically a Glock clone, if you will, but what makes it different is it's American made 100% and in California. They're also incredibly affordable, which using American labor is quite the accomplishment. That's not something that you can expect to see very often, very easily. Not a super gun, but for the cost and something American, it's impressive, and I think warrants a second look. There's good rumor that they've got something exciting coming out at SHOT Show at the end of the month. We'll take a look there. Next is Diamondback, another American company. In fact, all three of the manufacturers got here are American. Diamondback builds some awesome ARs, and also they do some handguns. The FS9 has been discontinued, unfortunately, but it's actually a favorite of mine, once again, for the ergonomics. If I get the lighting on here right, you can see the many contours and shapes that are on the stock, and it feels like if you picked up a wad of clay and squeezed it. It's awesome. Walther-like ergonomics for a much lower price and American made. This is a full-size gun. That's what the FS9 stands for. But longer than normal barrel, which gives you that longer sight radius, makes it easier to be accurate with. If you have seen some of the other reviews on the FS9 out there where they complain about accuracy, go back and watch our review. No problems with accuracy on this thing. Extensive rail, undercut for the knuckle there. All kinds of features and attributes that we look for on higher end guns at a much more affordable price. Now, you're unlikely to find an FS9 on the market unless it's used. What is still out there are the little Diamondback 380 and 9mm. Now these, this is very similar to the LCP, little pocket gun in 380. Give you an idea of how small it is. My finger reaches the end of the muzzle. The 9mm is quite an accomplishment. It was often misunderstood, and there are a lot of complaints out there from people who didn't read the manual. Itty bitty pocket gun in 9mm. That's the accomplishment. It's a pocket gun in 9mm, not a small 9mm range gun. So it's not the most pleasant thing to shoot because it's lightweight and small, so it's snappy. It also has some ammunition restrictions that I think a lot of people have ignored, and then they end up blowing up the gun. And that's because they had to make this thing super tiny. It's a specialized gun, so it needs specialized ammo. You got to respect that, otherwise, of course, you can have issues. Fun, interesting little gun. And why a pocket gun in 9 versus 380? Well, 9mm has a wider variety of ammunition choices. The ammunition is also cheaper, and most of us already have a 9mm handgun full size, so this allows you to keep with the one ammunition type, although the 380 is indeed slightly smaller, and 380 is a softer shooter. So those are two options from Diamondback. Another oddball, and this is actually a gun that I really don't enjoy shooting. It hurts, quite frankly. I'd rather shoot 500 Smith & Wesson or 50 AE for a long range session than a box of ammo through this thing. But it's not meant to be a range gun. The PS1 from Heizer Defense is a pocket shotgun, chambered in 45 Colt or 2.5-inch 410. This is the up close and personal, yank it out of your pocket if you're being carjacked, close in thing. What makes it interesting, of course, aside from just being overall unique and an itty bitty shotgun, is it's a double action only, so you see there's no external safeties to it. Instead, the trigger pull is your safety. It's very heavy and quite long, but it's on an interesting roller bearing system that makes it very smooth. So if you just mash through, it's not bad at all. Of course, trying to take an aim shot on any heavy trigger pull is difficult, but that pulling straight back is nice. You've got a very low snag design, and in the heel of the gun is room to store a couple more rounds of 45 Colt. So this is kind of a stick it somewhere and forget it idea of gun, because, well, once you've got a round in there protecting the firing pin channel, aside from a bore obstruction, there's no way for this gun to fail. It is just too simple. They're made, Heizer did aircraft parts, as I understand correctly, and you can see that in the machining. It's very nicely made, just incredibly uncomfortable to shoot. I blame mostly that round spot there, because as it recoils, it's sort of a ball peen hammer on the web of your hand. That, and you get 1.5 fingers on here. These guys also have a semi-auto now. I reached out to them, they ignored me, so sorry, we won't be covering that. They make these in a variety of calibers. In fact, you can swap the barrels on some of them. 7.6239, 223, things like that. How effective that is, I'm not sure, but to be able to have a 410 shot shell at close range out of this thing, definitely effective at super close range, and an interesting product. Once again, lesser known and American made. So that wraps up just a quick tour of some of the lesser known but interesting and innovative guns that are out there. I'm looking forward to seeing what's new for 2018 from companies like these. I'm sure there are already comments down below from the shallow folks who don't watch all the way through, making fun of the guns and how the trigger isn't that great, or it doesn't have tritium night sights on it, things like that. But it's expensive to operate a firearms company, especially a little one where your margins are a lot tighter. So I appreciate the folks like FMK, Diamondback, and Heizer who are making an effort to do something different and do something new. And I would argue that you should never ignore companies like these, because oftentimes the smaller guys are where innovation can come out. When's the last time you saw a Glock have ergonomics like this FMK? Just an example. So take a look at the little guys. We've got a lot of them on the channel here. If you go back and look through the playlist, you'll find all kinds of stuff that is lesser known. In fact, I've had quite a few people comment that they enjoy the channel because of the weird things they haven't seen before. Thanks for watching.